Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. For today's video, we're going to cover the latest around Elon Musk's trip to China. There's a lot of implications from that trip in my opinion, and I think we should talk about it. And then yesterday was Succession's last episode. Oh, best show ever? I think so, maybe. Let's go ahead and get started. So there was a story from Reuters that broke yesterday. Musk expected to visit China this week, meet officials. And then this morning, a tweet from Sawyer Merritt, the man that never sleeps. You can follow him at Twitter. Phenomenal account for anything related to EVs. Photo from today of Elon Musk meeting with China's state counselor and foreign minister Qin Gang, and I hope I pronounced that correctly. In case you're not familiar with this gentleman, Qin Gang is a Chinese diplomat and politician who has been serving as Minister of Foreign Affairs of China since December 2022, and he is China's second highest diplomat after Wang Yi, who's the director of the Chinese Communist Party Central Committee Foreign Affairs Commission Office. Quite the long title there. So some of the comments that came out of this meeting from between Elon Musk and Qin. Elon Musk told Chinese Foreign Minister Qin Gang on Tuesday that he's willing to expand businesses in China. The Chinese Foreign Ministry said Qin told Elon China was committed to improving the business environment for investors, including Tesla. And this again broke this morning at around 8 o'clock a.m. Central My Time. Now, the interesting thing about this conversation is that as of late, there's been some tensions between the U.S. and China when it comes to relations. And so China signaling to better relationships for investors is quite interesting. This is a story from Reuters from yesterday. China declines U.S. request for a meeting between defense chiefs, and this was in Singapore, which was at their annual security forum. And this is a new sign, they say, of strain between powers. I think if you've been following the news, you kind of know this has been going on for a little while. And the tensions are likely related to the U.S.-Taiwan relationship. There's been a lot of noise around China potentially invading Taiwan, and Taiwan is obviously a big manufacturer and supplier of chips to the Western world as well as the Eastern world, but they're kind of stuck in the middle of the two superpowers. Not really agreeing on what should be done with Taiwan. I really want to highlight some comments that Elon Musk had around this relationship that's sort of going on between China, Taiwan, and the U.S. I think it's very pertinent to his visit this week and really speaks more about what could happen in the future in case you missed this. I think it's a very important thing to highlight within the context of this trip to China. Let's take a listen together.
You have a very big business in China, in Tesla. And obviously, you're on that geopolitical fault line that's getting potentially interesting. To what extent is this affecting your decision-making around sort of how you put assets and stuff on the ground? And how concerned are you about that as a business person, and a lot of people in this room have business in China, about that getting very, very difficult for them?
Well, there is fundamentally an issue that's coming to a head with Taiwan. And it's unclear when exactly push will come to shove, but it seems that there's a good chance push will come to shove. It's trending in that direction. I dread to think what would happen. The results would be for the global economy would be absolutely catastrophic. China has been very clear about its goals, One China, and including Taiwan as part of China. So one does not need to read between the lines. One can simply read the lines. They're very clear, and they're not getting.
And is the biggest concern, despite the prospect of conflict itself? Obviously, a lot of the world's high-end chips come out of Taiwan. I mean, how catastrophic would that be if that was cut off?
Well, there's even more that comes out of China. So China does so much of the world's heavy lifting on manufacturing, especially if the manufacturing is, simply hard work and say not particularly glamorous. China just does an immense amount of hard work. That most people have no idea how much hard work they do. So, being cut off from Taiwan is much less of a concern than being cut off from China. Now, China would reciprocally suffer, of course, because I would say that the economies of China and Taiwan they're like conjoined twins with the Western economy, with the rest of the world. So China and the rest of the world being conjoined twins from an economic standpoint will mean that the separation is going to be dire indeed.
Okay.
If that happens. I hope it does not happen. So, and there's no easy solution here. But if there's any path to a diplomatic solution, we should really take that seriously.
And so obviously some pretty somber commentary from Elon Musk. When it comes to China's potential invasion or reclaiming of Taiwan, it's sourced to be somewhere around 2027. Of course, this is a long way out, and who knows if this is even accurate. But even though it might be, quote unquote, a ways out, it's something that appears to be ramping up, and there are some serious risks attached to it. When we're thinking about this, though, a souring relation will be very bad for the worldwide economy. And it seems clear that Elon Musk and Tesla are really taking steps to try and mitigate a lot of those risks, because Tesla will not be immune, obviously, if this were to happen. And so I wonder if this week's trip is to try and solidify some of those relationships locally, to try and avoid the risk from separation as much as humanly possible. And so securing localized supply chains will be crucial to mitigate the risk if this were to happen. And my gut tells me that this trip probably is closely related to that, to try and figure out how to best position Tesla, regardless of the geopolitical tensions between the US and China. And so trying to ensure that Tesla, quote unquote, survives that period is probably the most important thing that Elon Musk is thinking about, let's say, this week as he travels to China. If you're enjoying this content so far, I would love it if you throw me a like. It helps the YouTube algorithm show this to more people. Thank you so much. And some of the securing of that supply chain, I think, is probably tied to Elon Musk meeting with CATL's founder and chairman, Robin Zeng Yukun. Again, I hope I pronounced that correctly. I'm sure I didn't. And again, this is from today, May 30th, this morning. In case you're not familiar with CATL, CATL is a Chinese battery manufacturer and technology company that specializes in the manufacture of lithium-ion batteries for electric vehicles and energy storage systems, as well as battery management systems. And with a market share of 32.6% in 2021, CATL at that time was the biggest lithium-ion battery manufacturer for EVs in the world, and they're likely there as well in 2023. So a really large supplier of batteries based in China. If you think about the Chinese car market and how it stacks up to the rest of the world, China has the largest car market in the world by far, with about 26 million units as of 2021. The US is roughly half of that, with India, Japan, and Germany far behind those top two markets in China and the United States. And of course, with Tesla's ambitions of 20 million cars per year, which is a target they have by 2030, battery supply is the largest bottleneck by far. And so it makes a lot of sense for Elon Musk and the owner and the founder of CATL to sit down and maybe talk about, hey, if this thing goes down, can you hook me up? Can you make sure that my company can stay afloat locally with a localized supply chain? Because if you think about the Chinese and say the China and the US government are really upset about what China might do in 2027, you would imagine that US companies are going to have a really tough time really dealing in China and vice versa. So a lot of those sort of downstream effects of those souring relationships could hurt companies like Tesla in securing raw materials, batteries, so on and so forth. And all this development is happening while Tesla is building a ton of momentum around its brand globally. China was the top market for the Tesla Model Y, which is the brand's medium-sized SUV, and it's also the world's best-selling car in Q1. This is a story from about 2 hours ago. This is the Model Y, and it became the best-selling car globally in Q1 and the best-selling car in China for the same period. If we take the top 5 best-selling models in the world, you can see the Model Y is number 1 at 267,000 units globally, with the Toyota Corolla variations at 250,000, the Hilux or Hilux, let me know how you pronounce that in the comments, 214,000, RAV4 211,000, so on and so forth. And so the Model Y is on pace of selling over 1 million units in 2023 for the full year globally, which is an absolutely bonkers achievement for an EV-only automaker with that car starting at around $50,000 on average. So it's like completely crazy, really, really completely crazy. But if you really think about the momentum that Tesla has and its path towards that 20 million unit goal, and the China-US relationships potentially souring, and the different trips that Elon Musk has been taking, every region is going to need to be localized for volume and costs, not just China. So this China trip is probably one step of many for Elon Musk and Tesla to try and secure those localized supply chains to be able to serve 20 million cars per year. All those batteries can't come from just one region. I mean, theoretically they could, but if something were to happen to that one region, you're out of batteries for your entire supply chain. And if you're trying to become this gigantic company, you're best served to really localize that supply chain in as many places as humanly possible. Say China, the United States, South America, I don't know, parts of Europe, parts of Africa, parts of Asia outside of China, so on and so forth. And then if we continue to look at China's momentum, this is not just a global trend for the Model Y. This is also happening in China, where for the last week, Tesla sold 12.8 thousand vehicles in China, and that's the highest number in 8 weeks. If we compare that trend to the rest of the quarters since the first quarter of 2022, each one of these lines represents how many cars Tesla sold in the quarter, depending on the week of the quarter. And each color is the quarter from each year. So for example, this green line here, this guy right here, is the first quarter of 2022, and each dot is which week in the quarter. So this is the 0 quarter, the 0 week in that quarter, the second week in the quarter, the fourth week in the quarter, so on and so forth. What you can see here with this latest color, this I don't know, pink, beige, salmon, you tell me, I'm bad with colors. The second quarter of 2023, you can see that for every week thus far, Tesla has been breaking a record from a quarterly perspective, which means that the momentum around China's growth and also the global growth is not slowing down. So everything's pointing to Tesla becoming one of the largest players, probably globally, when it comes to large-scale manufacturing. And so within that context, if we look at it from a short to medium-term perspective, Q2 will likely be another record for Tesla at around 440,000 deliveries, which again is building momentum for Tesla to become that super economic powerhouse, juggernaut, whatever you want to call it. And within that context, imagine the different types of relationships Elon Musk and Tesla have to create to ensure that they're able to secure everything they need to be able to hit those giant targets. Tesla is becoming a global economic powerhouse, and we're seeing more and more clues of this development, of this happening. And it's just fascinating to see how this is playing out truly. For someone who's been following the story for as long as I have, it's like completely nuts, completely mind-blowing. And then the visits such as this one where Elon Musk went to China, Elon Musk seems to be strengthening relationships with key players in order to be able to achieve that long-term ambitious target of 20 million per year by 2030. Very recently, Elon Musk visited France and spoke with Macron. I think I pronounced that right. Who's the, I believe, president of France, basically the head guy at France. Looks like they're enjoying some cappuccino. Maybe, it's hard to tell. They also announced a new gigafactory in Mexico, which is a brand new region for Tesla. And this is going to be most likely for their compact car, their $25,000 compact car. They're thinking about building potentially 2 million units per year out of one facility, which is a lot of freaking cars. And then you also have a headline here, which came from that same Wall Street Journal interview that we watched, that video, that snippet we watched. Elon Musk says he'll likely pick a new Tesla factory location by the end of this year, 2023, and confirms that India is absolutely an interesting option. So we've seen him travel to China. We've seen him speak with the French president. We've seen him strike a deal with Mexico to build a factory. And now there is a rumor swirling, according to Elon himself, that a gigafactory or a car factory in India would be very interesting. So we're seeing this diversification of the supply chain happening right before our eyes. And who knows, the recent stock movement for Tesla and really the broader stock market has been performing really well due to some of the stuff that's happening with the Fed potentially not increasing rates, and not a lot of fears around recession and other factors as well. Tesla's up 86% year to date to about $201 as of the end of today's trading day, which is May 30th on Tuesday. And so who knows, maybe the stock market is getting wind of this and it's growing confidence, but I really want to hear what you think about all these developments. I really think this is a key development for the Tesla story and really the broader story between the US and China and the relationships between those two countries and any companies that are really stuck in the middle of the two. So it's going to be fascinating to see what plays out. Please let me know in the comment section below what you think is going to happen and what your opinion is. And if you have anything you want to share from your perspective that would be helpful for us to analyze. And if you want to see more content from me, I would love it if you hit subscribe. I try to put out videos every single weekday and videos really every day for all of us to sort of think through and see what's going on in the world of EVs, technology, artificial intelligence, Tesla, China, US, batteries, who knows, whatever I'm interested in, I like to talk about basically on a daily basis. So if you want to see more stuff from me, we'd love it if you hit subscribe. And if you'd like to support the channel, I have a link for Athletic Greens, which is a supplement that I take every single morning. The link below has my coupon, which gives you free travel packs and free vitamin D with your purchase. If you'd like to support the channel, I highly appreciate if you use that link. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching today's video. I hope it was informative and helpful, and we'll see you on the next one. Take it easy, everybody. Bye-bye.